Okay, folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to break ground on another artist, Beck. Beck, of course, is a popular artist that started up in the 90s. At least he had a very popular era. He does all kinds of things, and it really depends on the album you're listening to know the genre. But one of his earlier albums, Odelay, is one that I actually bought back in the day. And this was not really necessarily my thing. It was kind of one of those experimental, well, I think I'll try one of these new artists out, you know. And this is probably the second big album that he did. And he had some really interesting work on there. And I think one of the songs that caught my ear at the time was the one that we're going to look at today, The New Pollution. He actually got a hip-hop producer involved on this record, but generally speaking, he's more of an alternative rock guy or psychedelic rock guy. And he's one of them that started up in his bedroom with a 4-track cassette deck, one of those pioneers. There's a whole group of people that did that. Elliott Smith is one famous example, but I mean, even Bruce Springsteen had one that he recorded Nebraska on. But anyway, this was an actual produced album, and he brought on somebody called the Dust Brothers. They also did Paul's Boutique, which is arguably the Beastie Boys' best album. The thing about these albums is that they use samples. And this was kind of a new thing at the time, and they were still working out the legalities. And so it actually turned out that when the Beastie Boys album was done, they owed $300,000 in fees, in royalties, just for the samples that they used on the album. So in this case, Beck actually is a multi-instrumentalist who can put together entire songs by himself. So he would find a sample that he liked, and then he would actually play it. Sometimes they did use samples, but they used far fewer. So some of his music is pretty interesting. You know, sure, it was popular, but it was actually pretty innovative. And so I thought we'd take a look at this. There is a music video, and we're going to look at that today. I've never seen the music video before. Adrian, do you have any familiarity with Beck?
Not really. No, I remember the album with the mop jumping over the hurdle or whatever.
Yeah, this is a particular breed of dog, and you're right, he looks like a mop, for sure. I forget the name, but kind of an interesting dog, for sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. Well, why don't we check this out?
Right.
We'll talk about it on the other side.
Cigarette on each arm. She's got the lily white cavity crazes. She's got a carburetor tied to the moon. Pink eyes looking to the fruit of the ages. She's alone in the new pollution. She's alone in the new pollution. She's got a hand on the wheel of pain. She can talk to the mangling strangers. She can sleep in a fiery ball, throwing troubles to the dying embers. She's alone in the new pollution. She's alone in the new pollution. She's alone in the new pollution. She's got a paradise camouflage, like a whip crack sending me shivers. She's a boat in a strip mine ocean, riding low the drunken rivers. She's alone in the new pollution. She's alone in the new pollution.
Oh, lots of retro motif of many kinds, all in a pretty humorous context. I can't really make sense of the lyrics, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're fairly stream of consciousness, abstract type of lyrics.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a bit on the psychedelic side, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things he's known for. So I would actually call this a psychedelic rock single.
Cool.
You know, even though it's got samples and all.
And bands parodied in this video include Devo and Motley Crue.
That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I noted that. That was pretty funny, especially the Motley Crue part.
I'm not sure. From the video, maybe this is about fanaticism and passing trends, or maybe...
Yeah, let's take a look at the words.
Grounding yourself in the temporary.
She's got a cigarette on each arm. That sounds like a show-off. Kind of. She's got the lily white cavity crazes, so she's whitening her teeth. She's got a carburetor tied to the moon. Yeah, I don't know what that one's about. Pink eyes looking to the food of the ages. That almost sounds like...
I have a guess of what that might be about. Munchies?
What color are rat's eyes? I'm trying to...
Although I think they're red when they glow in the dark, supposedly, or something.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen one myself, but I've seen pictures.
So it could be like the scavengers after the nuclear Armageddon, you know. Come on. She's alone in the new pollution, you know. And she's got a hand on a wheel of pain. She can talk to the mangling strangers, perhaps mangling the English language, mangling the culture. She can sleep in a fiery bog, throwing troubles to the dying embers.
Yeah, they're great lyrics, but I just don't understand them.
Yeah, if anybody knows what these might actually refer to, they are very interesting. It's just three really cool verses, and then she's alone in the new pollution. I guess these guys would be looking for things to put into songs that would help further what they're trying to do with them. And they'd find samples and things and put them aside and either re-record them or use them as is.
Samples and imagery as well, just different things they show in the video.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought the groove was really inventive, you know, and I realize these are samples, but I could totally hear a rock band playing this pretty much the way it is. You know, you'd have to have somebody doing the loops or whatever, you know, like Mission of Burma has the loop guy, even Pink Floyd, you know, there's somebody doing loops during some of the portions of their shows, especially from Dark Side of the Moon. Things like that. So it's funny, you know, we talk about sampling as kind of a newer thing, but Dark Side of the Moon was full of samples. So anyway, so the idea is always, you know, it's been around a lot longer than just the 90s or the 80s or what have you. But that just always struck me as a really interesting piece of artwork, that song, I mean. And, you know, we're almost 30 years on, and I still feel like it's pretty original and unique, has a great groove to it. Would love to find out what that sax sample was from. Even that was cool. And the way that they placed it, I'm not sure that they placed it the way that it was originally played either. Just very, very cool. He was kind of like, at the time, he was kind of a modern psychedelic rock artist who also did a lot of samples.
part of the 90s revival of the 70s or something like that.
This guy has a few highly acclaimed albums, and this is actually one of them. It's sold a lot.
Odelay, I know that Odelay was a big album.
Yeah, it looks like it sold at least 2 million copies. I mean, I've heard other albums of his. There's one after called Mutations that was a little bit more laid back, fewer samples, more instruments, almost Neil Young-like in some ways, and that wasn't bad either. But I don't necessarily gravitate to everything that Beck does. It's just every so often, you know. But I thought this particular album really, it holds together really well. What do you think in general of the music itself?
Oh, the music itself, I think the music's pretty good. I like the groove.
All right, well, folks, why don't you let us know what you thought of this track, if you're familiar with it, if you're over familiar with it, or if you've never heard it before, or if you know the album Odelay. What is your take on the album? I would be interested to hear a little bit more about that. I've always thought it was pretty interesting. It's never actually been my cup of tea per se, but I remember for a while I was putting it on anyway, and I would actually work to it a lot. You know, just put it on and put it on again, because it's just a good soundtrack. But yeah, would be interested in hearing other people's thoughts on it. If you have any thoughts, please leave them below. If you have any suggestions for us, or if you have any requests for us, please leave those as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one. All right, take care, folks.
See y'all later.